Hi, everybody. Well, I did not want to bombard you with several literary devices in the first video since I had given you 15, but I did have some more for you to help you with IXL C6. So let's go ahead and look at them. Because not only will this help with your IXL, this does help as you're looking at poetry terms and your hyperdoc, and maybe even some testing stuff that comes down the line. So shall we go on with more literary devices to know? An Afra is the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of successive clauses. So it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. This comes out of Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. And yes, I just realized I spelled his name wrong, so I'll have to fix that. But sorry, I didn't proofread carefully enough. Anyway, it was. This is the anaphora. This is the repetition of the word or phrase at the beginning of a successive clause. Then I have the antithesis. Now, the antithesis basically it means opposite. Anti is opposite. So in English, we use it as a phrase to kind of show two contrasting ideas. Shakespeare was like he did this perfectly. To err is human, to forget divine. Okay. We also, Neil Armstrong used it. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Okay. So I took it from, he's walking on the moon. I have just this little step. Okay. So that's one idea, but then I'm going to contrast it completely with a giant leap for mankind. All right. Let both sides explore what problems unite us instead of belaboring those problems which divide us. So I can look at the two contrasts here. Am I going to look at what divides, or am I going to look at what unites? John F. Kennedy. All right. So basically, I use the antithesis to express opposing ideas in a vivid fashion. That way it has more impact on the person reading. All right. An apostrophe is not just a punctuation mark. Okay, it can be used as a literary device as well. And this is where the speaker might break off and address a thing like that thing is an actual person. I usually only find it in poetry, or Shakespeare uses it quite frequently in his plays. So, for example, in Romeo and Juliet at the end, and you've all read Romeo and Juliet, so I thought I could use this one. At the end, she's speaking to the dagger, remember? Romeo has committed suicide. She's speaking to the dagger. She's using an apostrophe when she speaks to this thing. I'm going to use my phone, that works. And she says, "Yea, noise. Then I'll be brief. Oh, happy dagger, this is thy sheath. There rust and let me die." This is from William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, and it is an example of an apostrophe. Okay? And then I have chiasmus. Now, chiasmus is a phrase I have not worked with a lot. I will be very honest, but it's kind of like inverted parallelism. So I use two or more clauses that are similar in their grammatical structure and in their concept and what they're trying to say, but the grammar and concepts are kind of reversed. So he told me he isn't coming back. He's not returning, he said. So I put it at he told me, and then he said. Okay, he's not coming back. He's not returning. So the concept is there. I've just kind of inverted it a little bit. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. John F. Kennedy. So instead of asking what somebody else can do for you, ask how you can help them. So that's kind of chiasmus in a nutshell. All right, and then I have understatement. Now, an understatement is where a writer makes a situation seem less important than it really is. So an example I found of this was from Catcher in the Rye. And we haven't read that book. I don't know if you have on your own, but J.D. Salinger does an understatement when he says, "I have to have this operation. It isn't very serious. I have a tiny tumor on the brain." Okay, when you think of a brain surgery, I usually think of something pretty serious. So that is an understatement. Okay, these are some more examples of literary devices that we'll find. Now you can watch the tutorial I'll have up on C6, or you can go ahead and work on C6 for IXL for this week. All right, guys. See you later. Bye. Miss you. Love you.